Shall I start or shall Ercilia start? I start. Well, I'm very, very happy to open this workshop, School and University Network for Wellbeing, organized by the Teacher Education Arena of the Uniwell Partnership. Some of you know very well what the Uniwell is, Maxence, Jan, and others, Donna, but some of others are guests. So let me say a few words about Uniwell, which I think is also the reason why I'm speaking before Ercilia, otherwise she would speak before me. Uniwell is a European University for Wellbeing, has come together as a response to the Council of the European Union invitation to member states to push a horizontal, cross-sectoral, knowledge-based approach to advance the economics of well-being. Uniwell basically is a partnership of 7 universities, which are Leiden, Linnaeus, Semmelweis, Birmingham, Cologne, Florence, and Nantes. And just recently, we also added Murcia, so also Spain, joined as an affiliated members. And very soon we will have also, as an affiliated, the Kiev National Universities that will also join for the Uniwell Alliance. Uniwell is basically an action-oriented response to well-being, which is grounded in high-profile research expertise, educational leadership, and civic engagement. Basically, we aim to play as an alliance, as a partnership, we aim to play a critical intermediary role in shaping the research-based policy and pedagogy to inform decision-making, to underpin skill development, and realize a measurable impact on our students' learning experience, but also on our citizen quality of life. One of the Uniwell main goals is to make an impact not only on the university's students, but also on their broad environment, on the city where they are located. Of course, I don't go into the detail of Uniwell, but I wanted to say that we have 1.5 years of life, and I want to stress that we are a very innovative alliance, that teaching and research are for us closely connected, and we want to overcome the boundaries of the different national education system. The University of Florence is proud of being part of Uniwell, but is also proud to have the lead of 2 arenas. One is the environment arenas, and the other one is the teacher education arenas. We want to leave a sign. We want to be considered role models for other alliances and for those universities which do not belong to any. I want to say a few words before I finish on 2 very relevant themes. And then I will briefly address the issue of trainship, which is going to be dealt with by Irene Galep at the end of this conference. Basically, we can look at, there are few words, 2 words, which I think are interlinked and very important, that are in this workshop, as well as in the arena teacher education as a whole. One is internationalization, and the other one is innovation. And we can look at these 2 words and their links in different ways. And the one I would like to emphasize here is innovation through internationalization, i.e. how international cooperation and mobility foster innovation in higher education. We can identify different ways in which internationalization, through mobility, but also through other international activity forms, can boost institutional innovation. And I think today there will be an occasion to explore the role of international partnership and collaborative projects in advancing the institutional innovation agenda. The European Universities Alliances are the way through which the higher education agenda will be transformed, and internationalization is at the roots of the University Alliances. However, we have been for over 2 years now in the COVID-19 pandemic, and this has pushed us towards many changes, as well towards unexpected innovation in teaching and mobility. Virtual mobility, blended mobility, words that before February 2020 meant nothing to most of us and are now common knowledge and best practice. The teacher education arena is one of the 4 Uniwell research arenas. The others, I already mentioned the environmental and urbanity arena. The other 2 are individual and social well-being and health. And basically these 4 arenas address the issue of the preparation, the teacher education especially, but also the others for the research, address the issue of the preparation of teachers and aims at ensuring that teachers, school teachers, are culturally competent and globally minded. The preparation of teachers is critical to ensure that they are able to engage in transformative practices. The culture of teacher education has so far tended to be local, rooted in neighborhood school rather than global, often because teacher education programs focus on local and or state requirement for certification. And that's a very important issue that I think we have to deal with. Often teachers are not even rewarded for having spent time abroad. However, teacher needs to understand the global realities and value cultural differences. These issues and other much more specific are going to be discussed in the two roundtable of the workshop. The first roundtable is more with an accent on fostering internationalization for future professionals, with an eye on the labor market outcomes, on the inclusion, on the training of specialized teachers. So it's more on the professional side. And the second roundtable is fostering internationalization for school innovation, where Daniela Frisoni is going to provide a brief EUniWell perspective of the profile of a European teacher. And I think this is absolutely crucial to have a profile for a European teacher and to try and detach the figure of the teacher from the local, two local visions that we tend to have. Finally, you are going to discuss what I believe is a great opportunity that we want to challenge the invited school, which is the internship opportunities around Europe. I think this is a good way to engage future teachers, to open their minds and heart to diverse culture. And I hope that you have a very fruitful workshop. Thanks.
Okay, can I start, Giovanna? Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. I'm Marcilia Menezzini. I'm the Vice President of Teaching and Students Guidance. And I'm very honored to be here with you and to give the welcome to this arena or to this group of researchers and scholars who are working on the topic of school and university for well-being. I think the topic that you are raising or bringing are really important and have relevant implications for our work, and as a university we will benefit from this network and from this collaboration across Europe. Especially in the case of teachers training, it's very important to have this possibility to discuss, to compare, and to work in an international context, to have a cross-cultural possible comparison and analysis. And I think that some of the issues that you are going to raise are really important, like for instance the internship. We have been working as a University of Florence on this topic because we think that it's an important connection between the university training and the possibility to be placed in the labor market. So I think that working on the internship and thinking about an internship that is across Europe is highly relevant for our students and also for developing new dimensions of the profession of teachers. And also the idea that you are trying to discuss or to tackle about the continuity between secondary education and tertiary education, the continuity between high school and university is highly relevant. In the case of our country, we have a big problem about the low rate of students that that are qualified at the university level in the labor market. And we think that the continuity between high school and the university can be one of the assets that we can provide in order to enhance the number of students who can be highly qualified at the university level. So I think that the topic of continuity is highly relevant, both for guidance for students, but also to really change and innovate the way of teaching and learning across the different types of school and orders of schools. And of course, as my colleague said, the most important characteristic of this event is also, and of this initiative, is the internationalization. I think this is very important, and the idea that thinking about how to enhance higher education at the secondary and tertiary level within a European framework is probably the best and the most important challenges that you can address. So I really hope that the seminar will be fruitful, and especially the work that you will carry on later on about these topics, and this will be a positive, beneficial implications for the work that we are carrying on as a single university and as a network. So thanks a lot for being with us and working on behalf of all the universities that are part of the networks.
Thank you very much to Professor Giovannetti and Professor Menezzini for their introduction that can permit us to directly go into the core contents of this webinar of today. Well, I just share with you a PowerPoint only to introduce some key points that we have to deal with today. And well, I just spent some words in a very shortly presentation, not really on EUniWell, because already Professor Giovannetti explained what is EUniWell and the ambitious aims that these projects want to reach. And well, just a focus on teachers' education, because as they said, we have to think that when we deal with teachers' education, we are talking about the futures of our society, and the profession of school teachers represents a very important point for the innovation of our societies, and also for developing the competencies and knowledge that our societies have to develop for a sustainable futures. So Uniwell aims to position itself as a worldwide leader in teachers' education, and to do it, we need to be supported by the schools, by the institution, by the teachers, because we can work only if we can dialogue with the professionals that already work in the school, to find a way in which we can train the future teacher in the best way. And for this, we have inside the Uniwell project a specific arena, Arena 4, that is an arena dedicated to teachers' education. And the aim is designing and supporting education and training for future European teachers, creating a school network of partner universities and also local schools. Of course, as we said, for internship of student teachers within the network, but also to define innovative opportunities for internship and for supporting students' mobility. And what are our concrete tasks inside the teachers' education arena? We have also to define common framework of learning outcomes for European teachers' education. And the schools can give us a lot of inputs about this. defining a transversal curriculum for European teachers, and traineeship and internship can be part of this transversal curriculum. Creating, and this is the very ambitious deliverable that we have to obtain, is creating an international certificate for European teachers. And we can create international certificates, but we have to do it with the schools, because of course are the national institutions that have to that can to recognize this certification, and this certification can help also in the future the mobility of teachers within Europe. And another concrete task is, as Professor Giovannetti and Professor Menezzini said, to foster international mobility of pre-service teachers in strictly connection with in-service mobility of teachers through Erasmus Plus project, for example. And transversal to this task is to enhance well-being and mental health of student teachers and the acquisition of skills in self-care. And it is very relevant, but to do this is also important that the future teachers, the student teachers, can have experience of what means to work in the school, to work in school with different situations, in different contexts, with different problems in Europe. And we think that this kind of experience can be implemented only through internship and exchange of students. And this is the problem that are at the basis of the choice to organize the webinar of today. And we want to present a Uniwell project, but also the network that in the aims that is create a network that in the next month can create the condition for the internship period of students on the move from our universities. And at this stage, Teachers Education Arena is not formalizing any specific agreement with the school, but only identify the schools with which to start a collaboration within a EUniWell consortium. And which kind of schools we contacted. We used some criteria for contacting school, and these are the following. For example, school with which agreements have already been stipulated for realization of internship. For example, students from our partners, but also schools with some didactic research project or experience in internationalization, but not only. We are open to all the schools that want to work with us. And for doing it, we have prepared through three specific moments in our webinar. The first one is finalized to share experiences. The first round table is aimed at sharing some reflection on the importance and relevance of supporting internationalization for training of professionals for the futures. The second round table is to share a vision, is aimed to share some reflection on the potential of internationalization to support the innovation of the school system, of the institution, as Professor Giovannetti said. And the third moment is to share opportunities, to reflect, to present the student mobility as opportunities that we could develop together. And at the end of our webinar, we want to try to collect schools' expression of interest for creating this network that can in the future and starting from the next year to encourage the exchange among future teachers and to encourage a positive attitude toward internationalization among schools. at this link and through this QR code, you can open a very briefly questionnaire, and through these tools we want to collect the school expression of interest and to create a sort of mailing list of school that we can involve in the futures to construct with us a network that can help us to open a new way to support internationalization and the collaboration through university and schools. And of course, if you need some more information about EUniWell, you can try all the information in this link. This PowerPoint will be put at disposal of all the schools that are interested to collaborate with us. And I finish my presentation and I give the floor to Jan, that will be the coordinator of the first roundtable. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Giovanna, for the invitation and the introduction words. I think I still can't share my screen. We prepared a little presentation. I emailed with Daniela in the background. I think it's not possible because I need to change settings on my computer. To do so, I would have to leave the meeting, and I rather do not leave the meeting since I'm here now.
Otherwise, I can share the PowerPoint, but I think you can give Jan the privilege for sharing the screen. Am I right, Giovanna?
Yes, I am doing. I think, Jan, that you can do it.
No, it's still my setting, which is not changed. I'm so sorry.
It seems so. It seems that you have the privileges to share your computer.
Otherwise, I can do it.
Yes, it's still asking me to change settings, and I changed the setting. So I know you gave me the rights, but it's still not possible on my computer. I'm so sorry.
Daniela, you can do it without
Yes, of course.
permission.
Okay, while you share the screen, I'm not alone in this roundtable. We are 5 colleagues in total from different universities. And we thought it might be easier for everybody listening if we start with a very short presentation, like an impulse from every partner university participating today, giving the listening colleagues some information on international activities from the different universities. And based on those impulses, we will talk about maybe potentials and limits of internationalization in teacher education and or for colleagues, meaning staff and students. So we are starting in alphabetical order. So I'm handing over to the University of Birmingham.
Hello everybody, lovely to be here this afternoon from sunny Birmingham. My name is Donna Dawkins and I'm Head of Department of Teacher Education here at the University of Birmingham. So in our School of Education, we've got 3 departments: Education and Social Justice, Teacher Education, and Disability Inclusion and Special Needs. So the City of Birmingham, in terms of an international profile, is hugely diverse. It's in the middle of the country. That's why the map's there. So in case you weren't quite sure of where we're actually situated, we're about as far from the sea as it's possible to get in England. So it's a city of about 1 million people, but it's more ethnically diverse than London, our first city. So that's quite an interesting reflection, and that tells you something about the population that we have. About 1 in 4 people in Birmingham come from outside the UK. So that's the sort of demographic we have. And unusually, we have the largest population of traveller and Roma people in the city as well. So very mixed, very international, but what does it feel like to work and live here? Well, taking a step back from that, thinking about the University of Birmingham and how we engage with it, we teach initial teacher education for primary, for special educational needs, and for secondary across a range of specialist subjects, as well as going on to educational leadership and to sort of further education. So, having described the population of Birmingham, that demographic gives it a huge diversity. And we work with about 75 or 80 secondary schools and around 35 primary schools in and around Birmingham and the West Midlands. Now, because it's a hugely diverse city, we've got very different regions in the city. And so our schools represent that. So that's one of the requirements from our Department for Education, that we prepare our teachers to go and work in the local area or in the locality in England. So some schools in Birmingham are massively diverse. They're what we call super diverse schools in terms of culture, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of background. Whereas others in different regions of the city, just a few miles apart, are almost monocultural or monoethnic. So a teacher that was coming to do an internship in Birmingham could have a real range of experiences and a real contrast to their own experiences in their host country. In terms of international perspectives, well, as was set out earlier, the national guidance set out for England, so Ireland, Wales and Scotland have their own teacher curriculum. So our perspective is focused on the expectations of the curriculum for England, and that's true also for student teachers and for pupils. And that's what we prepare them to teach. So they learn primarily about those English curriculum approaches to teaching, to the content and to learning. So where do they get their international perspectives from? Well, we encourage a culture of criticality and wider reading, and that's expected to be part of their thinking in their assignments about particular pedagogy. So that gives them an international perspective from that side. And in addition to that, we have a diverse population of tutors at the university, and lots of us have taught elsewhere. So there are experienced teachers who've taught in the Middle East. We've also got the University of Birmingham based in Dubai and an education department out there. We're working on an international QTS pilot project with our Department for Education. So prior experiences of places like teaching in China or Malaysia or Turkey, in Nigeria, are shared with our student teachers. So that gives them a flavour of what an international teacher might look like, and how things are so different. And we know that across our different institutions and in our different countries. But I would say that teachers in Birmingham and in the University of Birmingham are curious about what works and what doesn't work in different contexts. They see lots of different contexts. They have to have 2 different school placements as part of their initial teacher education. So for them, working in this really diverse city, this international perspective is part of their everyday life. They recognise similarities and differences. And so I think I'm delighted to be part of this project where we're thinking about the sharing of ideas and these internships to gain deeper understandings of the lived experiences of teachers and pupils in different countries. So I'm really looking forward to deepening these global links and building these stronger communities of teachers at all different levels. So,
thank you so much, Donna. And I'm looking forward to come back to Birmingham, because that's the place where I lived for an entire year, working at King Edward's High School, which is just across your university campus.
Yes, it's a few hundred yards from where I'm sitting now, Jan.
Yeah, tell them hi. We are handing over to the colleagues from Linnaeus, and I think, Hannah, you are giving a short presentation of your university.
Yes.
I mean, not of your university, but the international activities. Sorry.
That's correct. My name is Hannah Palmier, and I'm the head of the teacher education at Linnaeus University. And as you can see on the picture, it's located in the southern part of Sweden. And we have one of the biggest teacher educations actually in Sweden, educating teachers for preschool, primary school, secondary school, vocational and special education. And in most of these programs, we include one semester, which we often call an international window, where we have made it easier for students to choose to do a semester abroad. In this semester, they can take selectable courses at other universities together with practice time at schools at other countries. And the reason we have this window is multifaceted. We think it's made possible to exchange experience and knowledge. Of course, improved language skills. It makes possible for the students, the becoming teachers, to see new ideas, new perspectives. It's a part of their personal development, and it makes possible increased intercultural understanding. And this last reason, the increased intercultural understanding, I think is connected to inclusion. And very similar, I think, to what we just heard from Birmingham. Sweden is a multicultural country, and our teacher education, in our teacher education, we educate teachers to work inclusively with students from different backgrounds, different countries, different languages, different cultural experience, different social backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, and also students with physical disabilities. They are all included in the schools. And this implies that inclusion is both an ideological stance that we have, but it's also a way of designing education, where inclusion implies a classroom that holds a diversity of students, being socially, spatial, and didactical included in the education. And as a Dean for Teacher Education, I strongly believe that international experiences in teacher education promotes the becoming of inclusive teachers. And that's why we really think that this collaboration within UNIWell is very important from the teacher education of Linnaeus University. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. And we are handing over, and now I switched my alphabetical order to Semmelweis. That's due to the late arrival of the slide from Nantes. So we continue with Semmelweis first and then Nantes to finish our first round of impulses.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much. This is a very special welcome and hello from the beautiful Budapest. And as Donna said, in Budapest we live, I think, 2 million people. So it's not a big town as London, you showed us. About Semmelweis University, we have to say this is a medical university. So it could be a bit strange, what are we doing in here? But Semmelweis University has a special faculty training, a special teacher training. We call it conductor training. We work with children with cerebral palsy. But a few words about the university. This is the largest medical university in Hungary. And here graduated the most doctors, dentists, and midwives in the whole Hungary. And about the students, we have in every year over 11,000 students. And of this number, the quota is, we have international students, and they coming from the 5 continents and like 70 countries. So it's a very, very international university, and we are very happy with. Semmelweis University works in the field of medicine, health sciences, dentistry, pharmacy, health management, and of course the special teacher training. And we provide international experience, so we believe to be an inclusive doctor or to be an inclusive teacher, it's very important to go and have some experience somewhere else in other countries. Like we use Erasmus very well, and we like and we believe in it. I think it's a good opportunities for our teachers and for our students as well. And we're promoting well-being and high quality health promotion, and of course the habilitation and rehabilitation. These are our special goals and aims in the university. If you can help me to go to the next slide, I would like to say some words about the faculty. Maybe go back one, please. Thank you. So the András Pető faculty is the special teacher trainer faculty. And the key word is the conductive education. That means it's a complex personality rehabilitation. So not just the motor functions we're working on, we work on the whole personality, the motor, cognitive and emotional field. And the special student, a special teacher, is the conductor who studies here. And this is a very unique training because this is the only one in Hungary and the only one in that special form in the world. Of course, we have in Birmingham a kind of conductor training. Maybe Donna knows it, and they work with cerebral palsy as well. But that faculty provides the training in the whole spectrum of age and the whole spectrum of symptoms of cerebral palsy. What is a kind, it's a bit difficult. So from the babies till the adults, in the all age spectrum, we can provide internship for the students. What we believe and what we think is very important, our university and this faculty provides experience in inclusive education and experience to prepare for inclusive education or prepare to everyday life. So we would be very happy to have students through the Uniwell who can be in a special internship what provides experiments in the healthcare, the health promotion, and even in the special education with CP children. I think few words more, but I think it was quite enough. I don't know. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Then we have one more input from Nantes University.
My round. Okay, my turn. Okay.
Yes.
So good afternoon to all of you. I'm Maxence Boutet, the Uniwell project manager at Nantes University. Just to give you a broad image, Nantes University has about 40,000 students and nearly 2,500 students in its faculty for teacher education. So it's my pleasure to present you what is done so far, or what more likely what we will do in the upcoming years regarding the internationalization for future teachers, because so far we can consider that the internalization level in the education programs of literature was really low, for the simple and good reason that during the first year of the master program, the students were preparing the exam, and during the second year of the master program, the students were interning in the schools while they will work after the master program. So, but things are changing. There was a new reform. Now we're into a transition period from 2020 to 2022. But now what is important to say is that the exam will take place at the end of the second year of the master program. So now we have developed competency-based master programs, so full master for 2 years. It's also important to distinguish the two study programs we have for future teachers. There is one study program for preschool, so école maternelle, for children from 3 to 5, and primary school, so école primaire, and another study program for secondary schools, so collège and lycée. And in these secondary schools study programs, there are specialization, of course, according to the subject you will teach afterwards, so mathematics, history, geography, and so forth. In the framework of the new study programs, it is foreseen to implement internships, so 6 weeks during the first year of the master program, so 3 times 2 weeks, and during the second year before the exam, 12 weeks internship period. That should be done by the students. A new feature of the study programs is that there are some courses that are related to the internships to be implemented within the schools. For instance, students will have to write research reports. There will be an individual follow-up for each student, and the students will also have to analyze their activity within the classes. So what we can say is now the new scheme, the new framework will facilitate the internationalization for future teachers, either in a framework of study exchanges. For instance, they would more easily go to study abroad for 1 semester as Erasmus Plus exchange students. And it will be also more easy to organize internships for international students in our schools in France, in the networks, in our networks at Nantes University. So of course, we will see how the things will be developed, but now the new scheme will definitely facilitate the internationalization. So it's very important to stress this out. And finally, we will more easily go towards the definition and the elaboration of common standards for the education of future teachers, and also if in the framework of Uniwell we are going to the elaboration of a transversal curriculum for future professors. So everything now is new, and we are ready to collaborate in this framework. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We do have a couple of minutes left. So one question I would like to ask you, and maybe Maxence and Hannah, you already hinted in this direction. It might be interesting for the listening colleagues what your experience or your impression is on how did colleagues actually react to efforts or ambitious goals you might have with your, for example, introduction of mobility windows or with joint modules. What is your experience? Hannah, yes, you're smiling. Hopefully that's a good sign.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, my experience is that it's not self-evident for everyone that it's a good idea to go abroad when you're becoming a teacher. There is a view among some colleagues that if you're going to be a Swedish teacher, you need to do all your courses in Swedish, in the Swedish teacher education, and do your practice time in Sweden. But I think they are quite few, and I often tell them that I didn't really understand what a Swedish school was until I did practice time in London. And it was with young children, and seeing another school that I thought was very similar to the Swedish one, but it wasn't. And then I realized, okay, this is Swedish school, and this is an English school. So I think that we fool ourselves when we think that you only learn about the other country when you go abroad. You really learn a lot also about your own country and your own cultural school.
Is there anything you did or some of your colleagues did who are obviously a fan or a supporter of international cooperation and activities? So what did you do to convince, or what do you do to convince colleagues of also becoming maybe not a fan, but at least someone who's supporting activities in this large field? Because for most of us, it's happening on top of our normal, more national concentrated work?
I will not say that we have managed to do it all, but I think that the meeting between students who have been abroad and can tell other students and teachers who have visited other schools is very important. I think that the personal connections and also the connections that we have here today, that I can tell that I have talked to Jan. I know this teacher at this university. He's very nice and you can go there. So it's structural elements, but it's also, I think, the personal elements.
Yeah, I agree. Maxence, is that a similar experience you are having?
Yeah, kind of similar, but we will see in the upcoming months or years, because so far there was no space actually for international mobility. So of course we are talking since several years of the internationalization of the study programs and so forth. But regarding the teacher education, these words remain empty words. So now we will see what we can do. Of course, we have some colleagues who are involved in international projects who are really eager to develop international mobilities. The other thing in France is that it's like an expression we have, but we said that the education for teachers changes with every government. So there was a reform 5 years ago. There was just this new reform that's in place. So we'll have to see. But I see there is also a new generation of trainers who knows the benefits of international mobilities and internationalization. So, and every student is also aware of that, but for teacher education, they didn't have the scheme nor the space to go on mobility. So that's actually, according to me, that's a very important change. But I don't think it will be difficult to convince trainers and students.
Yeah, I'm more positive on the students. I'm sometimes not sure how to convince. That's why I'm asking how to convince colleagues, and I'm just like I often have the impression that for colleagues it's on top of their normal work and supporting international activities or joining meetings like this, working in an international cooperation, focusing on teaching and not only on research. At least for Cologne colleagues, it's sometimes new. And they give us the feedback, which is understandable, that it's a lot of work and sometimes too much. And they rather focus on things they have to do anyway, than, for example, entering a new international cooperation.
But the objective...
yeah, sorry.
No, sorry for you. No, go ahead.
I want to say, let's finish with something positive. So handing maybe over to Donna or Ibolia, do you have because our time for our roundtable is almost up. We have 2 more minutes and then I hand over to Daniela, but maybe you have a positive, spiritual finishing sentence. I didn't ask that in the beginning. If you don't, it's fine too.
I think it's really beneficial to see how we're all at different stages in this journey, and we can learn from each other, from people who are further down the journey of internationalization as a core part of their practice. So coming from it from a limited perspective, I'm really pleased to see that other people are further on and I can learn from them. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ibolia.
For us, it's not a big deal to convince students or teachers, because they already, if they qualify, they going abroad and to everywhere in the world, because they doing their job the best. So I just wanted to say, I think it's very important for them to say it's a huge opportunities to see each other's specialty, like what we are focusing on, and I think they can build their skills more if they can learn more and they can experience more in everywhere, not just in your university, not just on the same place. So I think that's why it's not a big question, it's not a big deal. For us, it's a very open question.
Okay, thank you so much, especially to the 4 of you joining this round table. And thank you again to Giovanna and Daniela for organizing and inviting us for this exchange today. And I'm handing over to you, Daniela, for the next roundtable.
Thank you so much, Jan, and thank you to all the colleagues. Welcome everybody to this second roundtable. My name is Daniela Frison, and I'm Associate Professor of Didactics and Special Pedagogy at the University of Florence and member of the Teacher Education Arena EUniWell project. I'm delighted to chair this second session, which will bring together voices on the topic Fostering Internationalization for School Innovation. Before we get started, a brief introduction on the topic. As anticipated by colleagues, by Giovanna Del Gobbo, Teacher Education Arena has among its goals to encourage school, local community, university collaboration in order to foster the design and the development of an integrated educational system, and to foster as well international mobility of student teachers within the European university network. The education and training of a European student teacher and teacher's identity is at the core of the EUniWell project and at the core of the Teacher Education Arena. Both are working on the definition of a common framework, as Giovanna anticipated, of learning outcomes for European teacher education, and also of common teacher professional standards. Universities members of the EUniWell project are strongly debating and working on this topic to define common standards among countries, focused of course on methodological and disciplinary skill, but also on organizational one, related to the ability to collaborate among teachers and being an active part of the school organization, as well as with reference to the professional context and its rules, routines, responsibilities, and the ability of taking part into the system of professional relationship. Under this framework of school, local community, universities, collaboration, internationalization, as colleagues underline, can become crucial to support as well school innovation. On this topic, there will be 4 brief talks with a small variation on the program that we have shared. So we have with us Alice Lella and Enrica Salurso, students of the EUniWell universities. I'm presenting them in alphabetic order. We have also Sara Pagliai from the Italian National Agency Erasmus Plus Indire, and Roberto Curtolo is here represented by Maria Teresa Tronfi of the Regional School of Tuscany, Ministry of Education. So these brief talks will offer us reflection and insight for discussion on the role of internationalization for school innovation. So before introducing our presenters one by one, let me invite them to keep on time, and let me remind to save time to the Q&A final session, and to invite also participants to write down in the chat questions for our final Q&A session. So under the described framework, I'm very pleased to introduce the first 2 presenters together, the voice of 2 students of the European University for Wellbeing, Alice Lella and Enrica Salurso. Welcome, Alice and Enrica. Please, I give you the floor. We're starting?
Okay, Alicia, do you wish to start or shall I? It's okay? Okay.
You can start.
Okay, so thank you everybody, and thank you professors for having given me this opportunity. I am currently actually doing my internship right now, although not as a teacher, and I'm doing it in Uniwell, actually. So it is very interesting for me. It has been very interesting for me as an experience, even though I have been doing it in Italy, so I'm still in Florence. The possibility that that Uniwell has given me to work into an international setting that has also provided me with the opportunity to understand how differently we do work in Europe without the necessity to move. So in general, my opinion is that internships are very challenging experiences for our students. For the majority of us, it's our first contact with the working environment. And so having this possibility to, let's say, see how different goals, the same goals and tasks are taken forward in different countries, has allowed me to enrich my personal and professional baggage, which is something that I believe has made me a more capable person also in my future work. That's why I'm very happy to be here and to contribute to this discussion, because I believe that if we are able to offer to all the students of the Uniwell consortium this type of opportunity, and also give them the opportunity to be physically in another working environment, we can for sure help them become better persons, better professionals, but most of all, better teachers.
So may I say?
Please, Alice.
Thank you, Arika. I wanted to talk about internalization, which is, we can say, the operation indeed to guarantee the possibility of presence or active participation at an international level. Nowadays, internalization is such an important aspect for students' work and personal experience. Also, from a business point of view, a lot of working bodies select internalization as an added value in the moment of hiring. For this reason, it's fundamental to have a good knowledge of languages, which can help to interact with foreign colleagues. A student who had experiences abroad is more used to have contact with foreign working bodies, and it's also easier to set up international connections. I think that having experiences abroad is fundamental also for the personal growth, because it is a complete open-minding exchange and improvement of different cultures, which makes people more awareness of the differences that every culture has compared to the others. In my life, I always wanted to have international experiences, and I also had the chance to travel a lot and also to open my mind, overthrow my prejudices, and also try to be a good citizen of the world. I also made some Erasmus, and in particular a training in Germany, which helped me a lot to have an idea of what I wanted to do in my life, where I wanted to live, and what kind of person I wanted to become. I think that it also made me a better person. With the pandemic, I tried anyway not to lose international contact. So I also started a tandem with a German boy, which helped me to improve my German. I actually study at the University of Florence, and I attend a double degree, which is focused on the connection and internalization between Italy and Germany. And next year I will move to Germany and have the whole year there. I do not have a clear idea of a future job, but I'm sure that these international experiences will be fundamental for my personal growth.
Thank you very much, Enrica and Alice, for your perspective as students on the role of internationalization for your future as professionals. And also thank you for offering us inputs to consider as a teacher education arena and also as a Uniwell project in order to enrich the experience of the students of the university partners. So thank you so much for your contribution. Let me now introduce Sara Pagliai, coordinator of the Italian National Agency Erasmus Plus in Dire, who offer us her experience and her vision about the relevance of creating and supporting European school network. So please. We cannot hear you. I see the microphone open, but we cannot hear you. Maybe you can try to go out and log in again. I don't know. No, we cannot hear you, unfortunately. Okay, just a moment. Maybe it's just a connection problem. Let's try again.
We can see her, but we can hear.
We can see you, but we cannot hear you. I don't know why. It's really strange. Maybe, do you have any, I don't know, in English, to try with another device? No. If you are okay for you, we can go to the third presentation and we come back to your presentation. Dr. Pagliai, if you can try to manage this problem. I don't know how we can support you. Oh, okay. I don't know what we cannot hear you. I don't know from a technical point of view how we can support you. Giovanna, non saprei come... Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sara.
Because so much.
Maybe without earphones, because
I think you should.
No.
Sorry, I think you should try to change the audio input. So if you go, there's an arrow beside the audio activation,
okay, but...
and then you can choose your microphone and choose another one maybe.
Hi everybody, I'm Lorenza Venturi from the still Italian NA. We'll try to solve it. Please go on with the next speaker and
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let me introduce the next presenter of this roundtable, Maria Teresa Tronfi, member of the Erasmus staff of the Regional School of Tuscany, branch office of the Ministry of Education. Thank you, Dr. Tronfi, to be here with us. She will offer us her presentation in Italian, but with a background presentation in English that I'm going to share. So let me just share the presentation. Okay. Everything is okay? Okay, with the microphone. Please. Thank you.
Bien. L'ufficio scolastico regionale per la Toscana, io faccio parte dello staff Erasmus e se andiamo alla prossima slide possiamo vedere l'attività che in questo momento sta facendo l'ufficio scolastico. Abbiamo in corso un progetto in chiave K1. Il primo progetto è SAVAC per l'Europa, e SAVAC è una specializzazione che ha un percorso binazionale italo-francese. Sono coinvolti 26 istituti superiori. Il consorzio è coordinato dall'ufficio scolastico regionale. Abbiamo questo progetto è da settembre 2019 e all'estensione fino a settembre 2023, è stato prorogato. E abbiamo anche un altro progetto K1 sul tema del benessere a scuola, e il capofila sempre l'ufficio scolastico regionale, e sono coinvolti 4 istituti comprensivi, e l'obiettivo è approfondire strategie e metodologie per favorire il benessere nella scuola. Anche qui è stato prolungato a settembre 2023. Se andiamo avanti, per quanto riguarda l'azione chiave K2, abbiamo il progetto SELFE, che sempre in questo caso non siamo capofila, la capofila è un istituto Cellini, che si occupa di promuovere come obiettivo l'approccio innovativo della formazione e contribuire alle politiche di formazione e supporto all'imprenditorialità e a diffondere nelle scuole il quadro Entrecomp. Anche questo ha diciamo come periodo da settembre 2019 a settembre 2022. Per quanto riguarda invece l'accreditamento, sono 7 anni, siamo già in corso di mobilità, abbiamo 3 consorsi in cui siamo capofila, il settore istruzione scuola, settore istruzione per gli adulti e settore istruzione e formazione professionale. Ognuno di questi consorsi ha un obiettivo diverso. Il primo, l'obiettivo è potenziare le competenze digitali multilinguistiche in materia di cittadinanza attiva e nell'ambito delle STEM. Per quanto riguarda il settore istruzione per gli adulti, sono coinvolti tutti i CPIA della Toscana, e i CPIA sono i centri per l'istruzione per gli adulti, sono per mobilità docente per una settimana, per quanto riguarda corsi o per job shadowing. Mi sono dimenticata di dire, per la scuola sono coinvolti 30 scuole, e lì c'è anche mobilità per docenti e per studenti. Per quanto riguarda l'accreditamento VET, il settore riguarda 14 istituzioni, e l'obiettivo è potenziare in questo caso tutto quello che sia l'orientamento professionale, promuovere l'apprendistato e favorire la partecipazione di studenti svantaggiati e promuovere così l'occupabilità. Per finire, i risultati sono più che direi molto molto positivi. L'ufficio scolastico ha messo in pratica un network, una rete di attività coinvolgendo tantissimi centri, scuole in diversi paesi europei. Alcuni progetti già conclusi sono questi 4 che vedete elencati, ROSE, SAVAC per l'Europa, Team for CLIL e TEST. Tutto questo ha favorito anche tutto quello che sia potenziamento delle competenze di progettazione nel nostro ufficio, con la possibilità ancora di futuri sviluppi. Grazie.
Thank you so much, Maria Teresa, for offering us a presentation of projects and activities that are in progress on the topic that we are talking about. And also we have the chance to see keywords that are common with this roundtable. So well-being at the center of your presentation. So let's check if it's possible. No, it seems that there is a problem with the microphone, unfortunately. I don't know if we can try to call Dr. Pagliai by phone and to put her in.
Maybe I see they are they are checking. There is the
Yeah.
technician, because I am not in the office today. I'm at home. I'm working from remote, so otherwise we could exchange. But anyway, we
The only
start
idea is
hoping that Sarah will be able to just say something briefly later. I would just like to congratulate EUniWell and this whole group for today's event and for the work that you are developing, because yes. I can say a few words. I had asked Ms. Pagliai to intervene because she has a more wide observatory, both on okay, we are
okay. Now it's work.
school and university.
We are.
Here
Can
we
you
are.
Now it's work. Thank you. Welcome. And thank you also to Dr.
I apologize because I still have so many problems with this computer, but I am in the office, so it should have been better, but it is worse. So it's better when I am at home with my own computer. However, thank you so much for this invitation, and thank you to the University of Florence. I'm very happy to participate in this roundtable. Well, just a few words because it's late, but I wanted to say something about how the Erasmus program, this new 7 years that just started in 2021, how really now a big contribution to the internationalization of all the system of education, and also in school system of education in all over Europe. Because it is really the program which can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see them.
Okay. Well, this new program really invested a lot in education, in cooperation, mobility, and all what is innovation of system of education. And as you can see from this slide, the European Union, I mean the member states and the Parliament and the Commission decided at the end of the 2020 to almost double the budget of the Erasmus Plus. It has not been so obvious because we were coming out of a pandemic. Well, we were in the middle of the pandemic, in a moment in which mobility was almost forbidden everywhere, and the program, which has in its very heart the mobility of people, of its own students, teachers, citizens in general. Well, it has been really a big challenge, but hopefully the investment still was very high and strong. This is because the Erasmus program is a story of success, and we are celebrating this year the 35th anniversary of the program, and I'm always very proud to say this because we started with a few thousands of students, university students going to study abroad in another university in Europe, and now we reach almost 12 million people from different areas and target group, which thanks to the Erasmus program had the possibility to train, to work, to study in another country. And of course, as you know, now the program is not only higher education, but it's school education, vocational training, adult education, and also youth and sport. Which is what I consider very important in this new program period is the fact that for the first time the program is really very linked, very integrated with the political agenda of the European Union. So the Erasmus program is really giving a concrete help in terms of funding of opportunities to the realization of the priorities that we have in the European Union. In particular, when the program is investing in the digital transformation of the system of education, in the sustainability, so making our Europe more sustainable, and is investing in inclusion, making the program more accessible for those who have less opportunity. And then all the other priority which I consider very important is the participation, sense of civic engagement. So really Erasmus is giving a concrete impulse to the European citizenship. Well, and all of these, when we are thinking about the system of education, we have to keep in mind that these priorities are the same: the inclusion, sustainability, participation, and digital transformation are the same of the program funded by the Commission, that is Next Generation EU. But so it's really the same priority. But again, in a more let's say education perspective, we have to keep in mind that we have a big goal to reach, something in which the system of education in Europe has to, let's say, look forward. That is the European education area by 2050. And the European education area means to improve the quality of teaching and training for a more, again, inclusive society in which, let's say, it will be really very easy, we hope, to move from one country to another to study, to train, and to have a work experience. This education area also is really trying to, let's say, expand what for the higher education system is already foreseen thanks to the Bologna process, that is the harmonization of the system of higher education. Here is really trying to make more, let's say, or harmonized also the upper secondary school level education in Europe, so that well, our young people could have a better opportunity to move from one country to the other. Well, and very briefly, just to conclude, because there would have been many things to say, but when we think about the internationalization of school education, I think that it is important. All the key action activity of Erasmus are very important. It is important key action too for cooperation, but we also have to invest a lot in mobility. Erasmus is really giving opportunity for teachers to train in another country, thanks to the participation to a training course abroad, or to do some job shadowing. That means the possibility to go and see how other teachers are working in other schools, but also this mobility opportunity now is really given to a wide, let's say, range of wide audience, because the new program is supporting the mobility of pupils of schools, and also mobility of learners, if we are thinking about adult education. The project of the Ufficio Scolastico Regionale della Toscana, the regional office for education in Tuscany, it is an example that they have this project, which allow lots of teachers, but also pupils and learners to have a period abroad of training, studying, and well, I think that it is really a good investment, and we are looking forward to see the result of all of this. Well, I just finished, and I would say that we are now entering, let's say, the new phase of the program with lots of opportunities, and we with EUniWell we are going to promote, especially in this year that is the European Year of Youth and the 35th anniversary of the program. We are doing our best to promote this opportunity the program is given, especially for our students, for the future of our youth. So thank you very much, and again, apologies for this technical problem.
Thank you so much to Sara Pagliai also for reminding us the goals that we are expected to reach by 2025, and also for the connection among the different contribution, the students, the regional office of Tuscany, and the national agency about the role of internationalizations for teachers, student teachers, and pupils as well. I think that I can first of all thank you all the presenters for this inspiring second round table, and I give the floor immediately to Irene Galeba, the project manager of the EUniWell project for the University of Florence. So please, Irene. Non ti sentiamo, non sentiamo neanche te. We have problem with microphone today. We don't know, maybe related to the wrong I was thinking about the bad meteo of last days.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you. Great.
Okay. Wait. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Please, Irene.
I'm talking from the microphone of Enrica laptop, and I'm trying to do that. Can you hear me well? Okay, amazing. So as you said before, I'm Irene Galeb, and I'm the project manager for the EUniWell project at the University of Florence. And I work also with Enrica, that is doing the traineeship with me. So within the EUniWell network, particularly in the teacher education arena, we have been discussing student involvement at length. in particular, how to create the right opportunities for the exchange of good practices within our universities and countries. The idea, as Giovanna said before, that emerged was to create internship opportunities among students in different countries. In the next few years, students who are studying in the field of the teacher education will have the opportunity to spend a period of time in other European universities of the Uniwell network. The funding, of course, will come from the Uniwell consortium, and creating a European internship opportunity like this will not be easy. But we firmly believe that the system of the traineeship will be a good way to train the European workers of the future and to create also European standards for teachers. So we have not yet established the criteria and the duration of these traineeships, but we are already collecting the first expression of interest. So that is why we have created a short questionnaire that takes only a few minutes, in which you can express the interest of your institution. The involvement of school that we expect is not only in a passive mode. Instead, we would like to understand from you what you would expect from an internship for your students and what we could do about it. So I think, Giovanna, you can share your screen and we can look at the questionnaire together.
Yes, of course. So I just okay. Can you see?
Yeah, yes, we can.
Okay. Well, just few words to share these questionnaires. The aims, as Irene remembers, is to collect school expression of interest to create this network, because also, as Sarah said before, is very relevant to foster collaboration between university and schools, and especially for teachers education, for teachers training. And we think that we can try together to find a different way. And well, what these questionnaires consent to collect some basic information as a country and your role in institution, the role that the person who filled the questionnaires cover in the institution: teachers, Erasmus project coordinators, headmaster, principal, administrative staff, or also other working in international activities in the institution. Type of institution, because as now you know, our project is aimed to future teachers in primary school and secondary school, but also in other level. For example, for the early childhood, or as we know in the project presented by Maria Teresa, for adult education, for example, or maybe in VET, in vocational and educational training. The name of institution, the website, and the office email, so we can create a mailing list of persons, people that we can contact in the futures. And we think that it can be also useful to collect some information about the years of involvement in international activities, to know better the experience before this one, because maybe some school can be a beginner in this kind of projects, or 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10, and more than 10 years. And we ask also some information about the engagement in within international activities. Maybe some schools have already participated to Erasmus training program, or have a role of a coach or leader or creator of networking in the school, or Erasmus responsible contact person in the school, or simple someone or some school that have any kind of involvement in international activities. Or maybe we can have also some school or some people that have played a role as evaluator or monitoring of international projects in terms of impact to innovate schools. And above all, we would like to know in which field, on which topics the educational institution can express interest in developing collaboration with a EUniWell network of university. For example, hosting university students for short internship, or collaborating in training activities for future teachers, for example, in a webinar like the webinar of today, or a workshop, or also in organizing in-service training activities for teachers on the topic of sustainability, well-being, inclusion, healthcare, because we can also think about internship with students of specific master degree course, for example, on healthcare and inclusion, as presented by the colleague from Semmelweis in the first round table. And if we have, for example, some students expert in some topics of a EUniWell project, we can think also in an internship program that consent to organize in-service training activities for teachers. Or another kind of activities, it could be initiative to present educational offer of EUniWell universities with students. For example, maybe some secondary schools can be interested in this kind of activities to foster internationalization before to go in the university. Participating with students in initiatives to promote opportunities of internationalization, and also evaluating collaboration for other initiatives that may be proposed by EUniWell Universities Consortium. We think that to create this network with the schools can be a very relevant opportunities for us, for our universities, because to deal with teachers training needs to collaborate with school and educational institution. And as Irene said, we would like also to collect the expectation of the schools regarding the internship program, or also other suggestions, comments that can help us to implement our project in a very useful and effective way. And I just close the condivision of my screen. And I don't know if Irene want to say some other words about some kind of internship that we are studying on, but maybe we have to.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay, that's right. And then we have some participants, some schools that are present, and we really hope that they are the first that can complete the questionnaires. And we send to all the people that are invited to this webinar the link for the questionnaires, and also as each of us will send the link to questionnaires to their network. And after a period, we hope to create this first network, also with just few schools, because it is a pilot experience. And we think that we, in the future, we can enlarge the network. We can also understand better on which kind of problems can work this network to consent an effective teachers' education for the futures. And I don't know if also Jan and Daniela want to say some other words at the end of this webinar. And I give them the floor just for... Please, Jan.
There's not much I can say. I'm looking forward to intensifying this cooperation, and I'm also looking forward to including schools from all our different partner universities. I mean, we have talked about it in the past, and we have a huge international network with schools from all over the world in Cologne already. And of course, it's always fantastic if we have the link between partner universities and partner schools in the specific area of the partner university. I think this is a unique opportunity for students to do a stay abroad, including studies at a university level and also including an internship. This is something at least our university is striving for, because oftentimes future teachers either do a study abroad stay at a university or an internship, and the combination would be fantastic. The most challenging task, but that it helps, of course, if we have the close connection to universities and their partner schools. This is something that works quite nicely in Cologne. I can just admit or say quite openly, because partner universities addressing us, asking for their students for an internship, it's rather easy for us, since there are so many different schools in our area, to find a very specific placement for them, and then also helping them to find a good spot for a stay at university. So I'm just looking forward to intensifying this, because I think it's a unique opportunity within the Uniwell network. And like Hannah said before, it's always helping that we know each other on a personal level. It makes it so much easier to contact a colleague and ask for something, for help, for advice, for another contact. I think this is a huge value. The personal connection on international level always helps, and it's growing and growing. So I just can't repeat myself. Thank you so much for organizing this workshop. This is a possibility of exchange.
Thank you, Jan. And Daniela?
Yes, thank you, Giovanna. I would like just to say thank you to the school representative, teachers, student teachers that have attended the workshop today. And just to note that there is a final question as you presented in the questionnaire. So suggestion, recommendation, challenges, and this is very important for us in this moment, because we are creating this European school university network. So every suggestion, recommendation, but also challenge is very important for us. So thank you to fill the questionnaire and to offer us your perspective, your point of view. And thank you to all the colleagues that participate and contribute to today.
Thank you, Daniela. And well, we hope to have a lot of questionnaires and a lot of schools that will be part of our network, also because we saw that the keywords of strategic priorities of Erasmus and European Commission are the same of our EUniWell project: inclusion, sustainability, participation. And we think that with participation of all the different forms of our society, we also, the university, can construct a better framework for professionalization of the future professionals. And well, I don't know if some other colleagues want to say something? And Donna, Eva, Anna, and the others, that Maxence, or well, so we can say goodbye to all the peoples that are actually connected, and also to all the people that will see this webinar in the futures, because this webinar will be possible to see the webinar in asynchronous, and we hope that in this way we can sensibilize the schools to participate in our project. And thank you very much to all the people present at this webinar, and we hope to see in the very near futures to work together and to plan together our internship program or other activities useful for our students. And thank you very much to all.
Thank you. Bye.
Grazie.
Bye.